In August of 79 AD, 11,000 people in a Roman town had 18 hours to live. They didn't know that. To them, the morning of August 24th was just another summer Tuesday. Markets opening, ovens lit, children dragged out of bed. Pompeii had stood for 700 years. It would not stand for a 701st. We're going to live those 18 hours with them. Through the eyes of a baker, a mother, a young soldier, and a Roman admiral named Pliny the Elder, the only eyewitness whose account survives. What you will see is reconstructed. Every face, every street, every flame is generated, frame by frame, but every death is real. We know the names of the people who died. We know where they died. In some cases, we know the very breath they took last. And by the end of these 18 hours, you will too. The day begins quietly. In a bakery 100 meters from the Forum, a man named Lucius is kneading dough for his 38th birthday. Today, in a small house near the Eastern Wall, a mother named Helena is braiding her daughter's hair. A young Roman city guard, Marcus, is in his fiancée's bed, 2 hours late for his shift. And 30 kilometers across the bay, at Misenum, the commander of the Roman fleet, Pliny the Elder, is eating breakfast on his terrace. None of them have ever heard the word volcano. To a first-century Roman, Vesuvius is a mountain, a particularly fertile one. Its slopes are covered with vineyards. Earthquakes have shaken Pompeii for years, most recently a serious one in 62 AD, and the city has always been rebuilt. The Romans understand earthquakes. They do not understand what a volcano is. There is no word for one in Latin, yet. At 1 in the afternoon, Pliny the Younger, Pliny the Elder's 17-year-old nephew, also at Misenum, sees something he cannot describe. He later writes to the historian Tacitus, a cloud rising from the mountain across the bay in the shape of a pine tree, a long trunk splitting at the top into branches, white at first, then darkening, then black. In the next 6 hours, this column will reach an altitude of 30 kilometers. The mountain has just torn itself open. Pompeii has 6 hours of sunlight left. By 3 in the afternoon, pumice, small stones of frozen volcanic foam, light enough to float, is falling on Pompeii at a rate of 15 centimeters per hour. Roofs designed to hold the weight of snow cannot hold this. By 6, the layer is half a meter deep. Houses are collapsing. The Marina Gate, the western exit of the city closest to the sea, becomes a bottleneck of refugees. Carts overturn. Horses panic. Some people are crushed at the gate itself. Others retreat into their homes, hoping it will end, sealing themselves in. Lucius, the baker, is one of them. He has decided the dough is more important than the fear. By midnight, the column collapses. What had been rising for 9 hours now falls, not as ash, but as something the Romans have no word for either. A pyroclastic surge, a glowing avalanche of superheated gas, ash, and rock, moving at 100 miles an hour at a temperature of 700 degrees Celsius. Hot enough to vaporize blood. Fast enough to outrun a galloping horse. 6 surges hit between midnight and 7:30 the next morning. The first reaches Herculaneum. The second reaches the eastern road out of Pompeii. The 6th, the final, largest, hottest one, buries Pompeii itself. Pliny the Elder is 56 years old. He is the commander of the Roman fleet at Misenum, a respected naturalist, and the author of the Encyclopedia Natural History. When the column first appears, he tells his nephew it is a fascinating natural phenomenon. He orders his fastest ship readied. By the time he sets sail, he has received a message from a friend named Rectina, who lives at the foot of Vesuvius. She is trapped. Pliny changes his mission. He is no longer sailing toward a natural phenomenon. He is sailing toward a rescue. He never reaches Rectina. The pumice fall makes Pompeii's harbor unreachable. He diverts south to Stabiae, where another friend, Pomponianus, is also trapped. He spends the night there. The next morning, on the beach at Stabiae, he collapses. The cause of death, according to his nephew, was a thick vapor, sulfur dioxide. We would call it asthma, complicated by gas inhalation. He is the only person whose death from this eruption was written down by an eyewitness within a generation. Everything you have just seen is reconstructed, but you should know, almost none of it is invented. The baker's oven, the mother at the boat shed, the soldier on the road. We know these people existed because they were preserved. When the pyroclastic surges hit, victims were instantly buried in fine ash that hardened around their bodies decomposed inside, but the cavity remained. In the 1860s, an archaeologist named Giuseppe Fiorelli realized he could pour plaster into those cavities. What came out were exact human shapes, frozen at the moment of death. Here is what we found. Bakery Insula 9, the brick oven intact. When excavated in 1748, the carbonized loaves of bread were still inside, having continued to cook in the residual heat of the volcanic deposit. 81 loaves, stamped with the baker's mark, the bread that Lucius did not live to take out of the oven. For more than 1,700 years after that morning, Pompeii sat under 100 feet of ash. It was, in a way, the most accidentally well-preserved city in human history. We see what we see, because the worst thing imaginable happened to it. The people in that city had 18 hours. They thought they had a lifetime. We have ours. Use them. Next time, on Echoes, the 12 minutes the Titanic sank. From inside the boiler room.